She, ma'am, no matter what, I can never say no to her. And she, for me, is also a mentor, right? So you guys are really lucky that you're under her mentorship. So that's what I will start with. And as always, I come prepared to say something, and then you say something, and then I'm like, okay, so this is not what I'm going to say, now I'm going to follow what ma'am said. So that's exactly what happened. I was actually making my notes sitting there after I heard ma'am, because I realized like, okay, my approach will be different to what I was prepared to say, right? So, absolutely, but then your direction actually gave me a different line of thought. So I'm going to follow that. So, yes, I'm not here to scare you at all, and like Vedji said, I also agree that 3 days into this new big bad world of management, and you must already be thinking about all the big boulders that are coming your way, but that's not the point, right? The point is to break those boulders into little pieces and make sure that you capture them one by one, right? So what does management entail? What does a manager need to do? That's something you need to firstly understand. Domain skills, very important, and that's exactly what you're here to learn, mainly, right? But is domain skill enough to be a good manager? So here are a list of things that managers are expected to do. Teamwork, conflict management, negotiation, strategic thinking, project management, adaptability, communication, stakeholder management, and I can go on. Alright? Now, among all the things that I just mentioned, what is the one common thing that you need to deal with if you have to go through all these that a manager is expected to do?
Teamwork.
Teamwork is the outcome. Who do you have to deal with?
Client communication.
Sorry?
Client communication.
Come a little down. Look at the common factor among all these.
Customer.
People.
Customer.
That's right. What's your name?
Shubhi.
Okay, thank you so much for that answer. Exactly. So the common factor is people. So a good manager is somebody who has amazing ability to influence, somebody who has amazing people skills. Now can that be learned by reading books? You can learn lots of techniques. But at the end of the day, people management or people skills can be developed only by you. And how do you do that? So ma'am talked about fueling your dreams. So these are the exact things that you need to understand. How do I fuel my dreams? I have a dream and I want to achieve that, but there are a lot of things that I need to do over and above what I'm learning in books, right? So firstly, like Veerji said, I agree, take initiatives. How do you take initiatives? You do not wait for somebody to tell you to do something. Like for example, there are little things happening in the college, you take the initiative to say, okay, I'm going to take this project up this time. I'm going to run this club. I'm going to do that. And if there's something which doesn't, reflect your interest, initiate that. Initiate something for your college, whether it's a quiz club, it's a debate club, and that's the way you will start showing your influence. So how do you know whether you have the influencing ability or not? So SWOT analysis, like Vedji said again, how do you know, what's my strength, what's my weakness, apart from doing the whole mathematical process of plotting things down? Have you noticed, whenever there's a group, whether it's in college, school, anywhere, you have a group of maybe 5-6 people dealing with something. There will always be that one person in the group who everybody tend to open up to, right? So that's the person who has the people skill. Because they automatically can invite people who feel like opening themselves up, who feel like, talking to this person, who automatically can garner trust in you. That is the skill that you need to inculcate in yourself. And how you do that is by ensuring you're taking initiatives, you're displaying to other people that you are able to guide them. And when you can do that, you know that you're taking the right steps forward when it comes to becoming a manager. Make connections, network, like he said. Absolutely. Networking is the only thing that will take you through life. So make as many connections as possible. Go to forums, walk up to people. That's also taking initiative. Introduce yourself. Exchange pleasantries. Those are the first steps of making sure that you're becoming confident, right? So don't be afraid. Just go ahead, break the ice, make as many contacts as possible, and you never know who you'll strike gold with. Somebody might like your personality so much that next time there's an opportunity, they'll think about you, right? Next is learning to build your brand. How do you do that? Building your brand is not about, one particular domain knowledge I have and only I'm working around that. Branding is about the perception you create in somebody else's mind about you. And these days we are really lucky. We've got lots of platforms where you can build your brand, right? Like for example, LinkedIn, right? However, the problem comes when you are defining your career in a certain way, and then you have very conflicting social networking also. So these days everything is on the net and everything is open for everybody to see. So these days whenever any big company look for a candidate and the candidate is applied, the first thing that happens is we do a social search. Now on LinkedIn you're writing very big things and very impressive things, but there on Instagram or on Facebook you're doing absolutely contradictory things. That is going to create a complete breakdown of your brand. So you have to become very, very conscious about what is your social persona saying, because social persona is something that you cannot run away from these days, right? So you need to start recreating that so that whenever people look you up, there's a similar message going. Of course, on Facebook you'll be more informal, on LinkedIn you'll be more formal, that goes without saying. But it should not be so conflicting that people start worrying about this person. That is this the right persona or the other one? So building your brand, another very, very important aspect of fueling your dreams, right? Overcoming fear by taking as many internships and volunteering as possible. Again, the more you go out in the world, you do internships, you volunteer in various charitable organizations, the more people you will be able to see. The more people you see how they are leading projects, you get to learn from them. You get to learn from them, you implement. You go wrong, no problem. You take feedback and then you re-implement. And that is the only way to be, right? So don't be afraid of making mistakes, but be open to receiving feedback also. So if you have a mindset that, okay, whatever I'm doing, this has to be right, and if somebody tells me I'm going wrong, God save that person, well, you will definitely fall off the wagon, right? So you have to be more open to understanding, okay, there is another way of doing this, and maybe that is more effective, maybe I can try that, right? So that's the next one. Next is communicate as much as possible. Communication, communication, and communication. That is the only way to be. And again, I've also seen with students, somehow there's this perception communication means that I have to speak flawless English. And that is only communication. It's not. Communication is the way you speak. So remember, it's more than your grammar, pronunciation and all that. It's about your body language. Communication is also about the way you project yourself. So if you are not great with a certain language, it can be learned. But even with your vernacular languages, if you know how to project the right body language, it can help you overcome, your fear of maybe speaking in English, for example. So what I'm trying to say is English is very important because that is the mode of business communication. But if you have the right way of communicating, then a little bit of errors here and there do not make a difference. So don't be afraid of speaking, right? So speak up, speak out, write your opinions, let people give you feedback. Again, these are ways to know where you're going right and where you're going wrong. So in other words, personal enhancement coupled with your domain knowledge is what is going to help you go forward. So again, like Veerji said, the college is going to give you the platform, but whether you'll get up on it and you'll take advantage of that is entirely up to you, right? So that's where your initiative will come in, your sense of urgency will come in about, how do I, make myself better. If you see somebody like within your group, so always within any group there will be somebody who will be stronger in something than the other. Instead of being envious of that person, change your perspective, admire that person. See what is the right thing that person is doing, pick that up. So the more you pick up from here and there and everywhere and tailor make it to what suits you, you are always going to be a step closer to your success. Be open to change. Everything is changing, right? So Gig economy or not, I don't know. Maybe it will be something else. Domain skills these days, any company is always looking to make you do more than what you know, right? So you will be taken in for one skill and then maybe 1 or 2 years down the line, you'll be told to do something entirely different. So instead of getting demotivated and say, oh, this company is not doing justice to me because I am, qualified in A and they're asking me to do B, take opportunity of learning B and, enhance your portfolio. So tomorrow you can say, I know A and I know B. And tomorrow you're ready to learn C. So the more you show a company that you're somebody who's always willing to change, willing to learn, you'll always be an asset for that company. So always be willing to change. So the more you explore the new, the higher your scope of making it, in this world. So do not be afraid of the new. If somebody has not tried something, that is your opportunity. So always go and look for the new and don't be afraid. And finally, there's one advice that I was given when I was, getting into the corporate world. My dad had told me that keep following Saraswati and Lakshmi will surely follow you. So that's the advice I'll leave you with. Keep following Saraswati. Lakshmi is definitely going to